So there's an old story about a man riding a horse, and someone on the side asks him, "Where are you headed?" And this guy replies back, "I don't know, ask the horse." Now that story is told as a joke for people who have lost control, but I think it's such an actual description for financial life for a lot of people. I mean, they're earning well, their salary is increasing on paper year over year, and most of them are working for money. But if you just stop them and ask, how much is enough for you? What are you optimizing for? Most of them would not have a good answer to that. So in this video, we are going to see how some people who are already rich or on the path of getting rich in future still feel stuck. Now let's start this video by defining what rich actually means, because I feel the definition of rich is very subjective. So for the purpose of this video, let's consider rich who is already in top 1% in terms of wealth in India. So if you're an NRI and you've already saved close to like $500,000 in US or 5 crores in INR terms, you're already in top 0.5%. And in case you've already saved $1 million, close to about 9.5 to 10 crores, you're already in the top 0.5% or maybe less than that. And yet, a lot of you who have crossed that number still feel stuck, still don't feel content in life. And that's the reason I wanted to find out why that actually happens. So this video is a series of things you need to understand. It's not like 5 money lessons and you can skip that. So if you watch it up until the end, you'll understand the entire picture. So let's understand this by going through a framework called Maslow's hierarchy of needs, because it fits perfectly well over here. So Maslow's idea in simple terms was that human needs are mainly categorized in 5 different levels. So at a lot of places you'll study, you'll see a pyramid sort of structure, and we'll go through each of these levels and try to understand what it means. Now Maslow defined the first 4 levels as deficiency needs. Now at the bottommost level is called as physiological needs. Those are like your survival needs, things like food, air, water. Now before we move to the second level, you have to understand it's not like a ladder that you have to go from one level to above. I mean, it's very fluid and you'll understand it when you go through each of the 5 levels. Now the second level in Maslow hierarchy is called as safety need. Think of it in a way that you're providing for your family, you're getting enough income, you can put finances over here, you can put your health over here. The third level is called as belonging needs, where everyone like your friends, your family, your relatives, community, all of these fall under this umbrella. Now level 4 in Maslow hierarchy is called as esteem. This is more to do with your status, respect, achievement, right? Like you tell very proudly where do you work or what did you achieve in life? Are people noticing you or not? Level 5 in Maslow's hierarchy is called as self-actualization. Now that is the level where you talk about your mission, your purpose, meaning in life. You go much deeper into life. And in finance term, you can think that somebody who has put money on the side and now they're doing what truly matters to them. And as I was telling you, it's not like that you have to move from first level to second level to third level, right? It's very fluid. Like all of this is very interconnected. In fact, you don't even need a lot in the first 4 levels to reach the level 5. As an example, you can think of a monk. Like even though most of the things like food, shelter, community is kind of still there for them, but it's at bare minimum. It's nowhere close to what we keep chasing in terms of money, in terms of status throughout our life. And yet, even the 4 levels covered very basic minimum, they are able to reach the self-actualization state. And in fact, they're the most happiest and most content people you are actually going to meet. So from this framework, you can understand that we can have the bare minimum for these 4 levels and still reach the self-actualization state, still reach the stage where you are content and happy in life. Now I know most of us will not be able to live a life of a monk, but at the same time, it's good to know what baseline is. It's good to know that you can achieve level 5 with bare minimum as well. Now we have understood the 5 levels of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Let's try to double click on the 5th level, which is the self-actualization, and understand why that is important. This is where I want to bring lessons from 2 of the books that I have read. Now the first book is Man's Search for Meaning, which is written by Viktor Frankl. In fact, while making this video, I realized that I had this book right on the top in all my videos, just like Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Viktor Frankl was someone who survived Nazi concentration camp during World War II, a place where all the Maslow's lower levels were stripped away from people. Now, in the book, he describes that a lot of people who survived that Holocaust were people who had a strong desire to get out, who had some reasons to get out. Like, he gave an example of one of the person who wanted to complete his manuscript that he was writing before the war. Some people wanted to meet their children or some relative. They had some why to get out. In fact, Frankl himself kept imagining picture of his wife and the thought of meeting her whenever he gets out from that place. In fact, Frankl's whole philosophy was based on another philosopher, which says, he who has a why to bear can bear almost anyhow. Alright, let's move to the second book, which is Ikigai. Now, this one comes from Japan, where people usually tend to live longer and are more content as well. Now, Ikigai discusses that people don't need to hit a certain number to be content. In fact, they need a clear reason to get up every morning. It describes how Ikigai comes at the intersection of four things: something that you love, something that you're good at, something that the world needs, and something that you can monetize. And the intersection of all these is where the Ikigai is found. So if you think about it, what you can get paid for is one of those four circles. It's not where the Ikigai is actually found. So think of money as one of the tools that help you in reaching to the level 5, reaching to the self-actualization stage. Now, from these two examples, you would have understood why you need to reach the self-actualization stage and why anything below that was just there to clear the way for you to reach to that stage. To summarize the video so far, we defined what rich is, what Maslow's hierarchy of needs are, and why is it important to reach the self-actualization stage. Now we are going to move to the next part of the video, that if reaching to the top level is the whole point, then why are people still stuck? Now we need to understand that money can fill the first two levels of physiological and safety very easily. Things like food, shelter, safety, without much of an argument. In fact, it can buy a chunk of belonging and esteem too, right? Belonging in terms of you can get a good house in a good neighborhood, you can send your kid to a good school, you can have a certain level of respect at family gatherings at home. Those are the things that money can do as well. Now, what you need to understand that money cannot bring you to the top level. And most people never sit down and define what their actual enough number is. And because of this reason, they stay stuck at the lower levels indefinitely, still chasing safety, esteem long before their needs are met. Now, there are two reasons causing this. The first one being lifestyle creep. Now, someone earning 6 figures gets $1 million house because that's what people around them are doing. Then there are mortgage payments, car payments, vacations, private school. The list never actually stops. Now, none of those decisions are reckless, but if you just stack them together, you'll always need more income in future. Now, I'm absolutely not against spending, but the problem is when somebody doesn't understand the difference between needs and their wants. Like, will they spend on certain things if nobody is watching? You can check out my other video where I actually talk more about this. Let's move to point number 2, the moving goalpost. Now, say for example, somebody defines their enough number as $1 million. Whenever they hit that number, they move the goalpost to $2 million and then $3 million, and that goalpost never stops moving. Now, because of this reason, it is very important to know your why. Because a number where why is not attached will never be able to tell you when to stop. Alright, let me summarize this video in 3 points. The first one being, define your financial freedom number. Put it down very clearly in your Excel. In fact, I can make another video on how to find your financial freedom number. Second thing, look out for lifestyle creep. Look out for moving goalpost. You have to remind yourself every other day whether something that you're spending is a need or a want. Are you spending on something that will genuinely make you happy? Something that you would anyway spend on if nobody was watching? Now, the third thing, understand your why. Be very specific there. It could be very simple, like picking your kid from school, attending all their school events, working for an NGO, or learning some instrument, or reading the stack of books that you always wanted to study. If you get that list right and aligned to your values, your planning and decisions are going to change for good. Now, that's the real difference between riding a horse blindly and knowing where it is going. Okay, that's it for this video. If you like this video, then please subscribe to my channel. Until then, I'll see you next time.